Hi, I'm Dark Shades, and I want to talk to you about a very serious topic, and it's about identifying the signs of an abuser. Now, a lot of us in these times have been raised in fragile environments. Either we haven't been raised with our parents, we've been raised in a home, we've been abused by our parents, or we've been abused by a guardian or a carer, and as a result we are very vulnerable. And so when we go out into the big bad world, it's no wonder so many young people become victims to abusers. Now, this video appeals to those people to look for the signs of abusers. I mean, we have never been given a book or a manual to show us what an abuser looks like. Our mothers and teachers are not going to say, look, you may be abused. This is what you do in the case of an abusive situation. This is how you recognize an abuser. It's not one of those things that you're taught about at school or anywhere in your education system. You find out by default. So this video is hopefully to protect you from meeting an abuser. And even if you meet one, you'll be able to identify very quickly that he is an abuser, and you can take the back door and slip out quietly. Now, abusers have similar traits. That's what makes them so predictable and easy to identify. Unless you're on your guard, you're not going to really notice that. That's why I said I accept and I realise that you may need endorsement, you may need love, you may need tenderness. And abusers hone in on people that need that. They can recognise it. Some men, they'll just walk by and they'll say, hello baby, boy, you're beautiful. Just something simple like that, a compliment. They'll be able to tell from your response whether you're needy, whether that's going to build you up, whether you smile and skin up with them and turn up to them and want to hold a conversation. They can tell just by saying, hi baby, you're really beautiful. I love your dress. I love your shoes. So try and get some self-esteem and some self-worth and some love, because that is the first sign. Now, I'm not saying there are genuine compliments around there, but all you need to do is say thank you. You don't need to skin up and, get all laughy and giggly and, ask them any questions and linger around. You don't need to do that, because you're telling that individual, that perpetrator, that abuser, that you are capable of being abused. You are going to be a willing victim. Because the thing is with abusers is that they're very demonstrative, very emotional. They use a lot of emotional blackmail. Like, I've been in some abusive relationships. Now, they haven't been the part where they beat me up to a pulp or they've scarred any part of my body, but I have had a slap here and there. And that's not to minimise it being abuse, but I have been in that kind of situation. So I know what the signs are. And I know how emotion is used, because I remember when I'd had enough with my first husband and he slapped me around. No, he didn't slap me around at that time, but I had enough with him. No, I think he'd slapped me. And I said I was leaving, and I left. And I went to stay with my mum. And he was outside my mum's house for 5 days straight, bawling, crying, on and on. How he was sorry, blah, 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 blah. And I fell for it. I felt sorry for him. And I told my mum, look, I've got to go back to him. He's sorry. He won't do it again, Mum. And my mum said to me, if you go back to him, don't put your foot back in this house. She didn't like him anyway. But I left and I went back to him. And I wasn't even married to him then. But, I didn't have love growing up. I had a mother and a father, but they weren't warm. And I find a lot of people from the West Indies, they are quite cold. You know, the old school parents. So you didn't get that nurturing, you didn't get that endorsement, you didn't get that acknowledgement that children get today. Anyway, putting my situation aside, I just brought that in because sometimes it's good to have a story that you can relate to. Yes, one of the things is that they're very demonstrative, very emotional. They show concern and they make it look as though they're concerned about you. You know, they don't want you to go with your friends because they might be a bad influence, and they're concerned that you're going to be tainted or you're going to do something wrong against your will. As if a big old hardback woman is going to do something against her will. If she does something, it's because she wants to do it. And, you know, they use that and the jealousy. And then what you'll find is, because they're so overly demonstrative and they're so into you, and you have a lot of friends who don't have a man, or who have a man and the man isn't paying them any attention, the man doesn't come round, the man doesn't call. And so you kind of feel wow, I've got somebody who's paying me all of this attention. They're saying, oh, well, you're so lucky. And, you know, it's confusing. Because on the one hand, you do feel quite privileged that you've got somebody who's into you. And on the other hand, you know that something is telling you inside that it's not right. It's a bit too much. But there's nothing you can do because you've got kind of the weight of your friend and the weight of the man, and then you've got your mum, and then you've got somebody else, some other forces, all these elements. And in a young person, because this has happened like, you know, when I'm young, say 1920s. So in a young person, it's easy to be swayed. And that's why these videos are here to protect you, to make sure you look for the signs. You've got friends that are going to envy the relationship, but don't let that confuse you or distort your judgment. You'll find that an abuser flirts with your friends, is overly nice to your friends, is overly nice to your mum. Any female that's going around there flirting and being overly nice, so that they'll say, oh, he's wonderful, he's great, he's lovely. They don't see it as, the friends don't see it as disrespect, because those friends, I don't even know what kind of friends they are, but they don't see it as disrespect. As disrespecting you when he's there putting his arm around them and giggling and doing whatever he's doing, flirting with them. And your mum, all she sees it is, oh, what a lovely young man, he's so friendly and so respectful. You know, so you've got to be careful. Just watch the signs. They tend to be controlling and possessive. And like I said, you know, when they start telling you, take you out for a restaurant, they might choose your menu. They might say, oh, you know, tell you what to wear. They prefer this, or they'll buy your clothes. That's another sign of a controlling person. They'll buy your clothes. They don't want you to wear anything that you used to have. And then when you're, if you don't wear the clothes, they have the hump and, oh, you know, I went out of my way, I bought you this, and you're going on like you don't like it. And there's a whole guilt, emotional control, just because they want to turn you into a frump. They never met you as a frump, you know, but they want to turn you into a frump once they start going out with you. What else? They want to own you. Yes, they want to own you. You're all I need. And you say to them, you know, but you must have some hobbies. Don't you like football? You know, don't you want to go out with the lads? No, I don't want anything. All I want is you. You're all I need. I don't need anything else. And so they sit around waiting for you to come home from work. They sit around, you know, following you everywhere you go in the bloody house. You know, if you're on the computer, oh, why are you on the computer so long? If you're doing anything other than looking into their tuyai, you know, they have a problem with it. So they just want to own every moment of you, every essence of you. They want to own you. So that's another form of control and another sign of an abuser. Because when they stop owning you, or you don't allow yourself to be owned, that's when they lash out, because they've got nothing left. While you're in love with them and you're enamored by them, and you're looking at the relationship with rose-coloured glasses, they're okay, because you haven't seen the signs. It's when you start asserting some kind of independence and some self-worth and setting some boundaries, that's when you notice that the aggressive and abusive behaviour comes to the fore. Yeah, and what they'll also do is they'll either financially, emotionally, physically, sexually abuse you in either or all of those ways if you allow it to happen. The only way you can allow it to happen is to be vulnerable, is to not assert yourself from the beginning, is to be enamored by their attention. It's fine when people pay compliments to you. That's absolutely fine. But like I said, don't get all giddy and excited. Don't let them see that that's what you like or that's what you love. Don't let them see that if they hold you or if they touch you, don't get into that weak mode. Be strong, be assertive, and set your boundaries and make sure, because if they are abusers, they'll tottle off if they think they can't control you. So that's all I've got to say for now. I hope you found it useful. I'm Dark Shades, and this was part 1 of Recognizing an Abuser.